Okay, what do we have here? Insane Star Citizen 4.1 leaks. All right.
Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. We just got our first 4.1.1 Evocati data mines. Some spoilers and other things are going to be ahead, just so you're aware. So if you don't want to see the spoilers, feel free to click off of the video. But for those of you that want to see the brand new stuff, and there is a lot of brand new stuff and some very interesting surprises, then feel free to sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. So these leaks / data mines are coming from Danny on the Star Citizen Reddit page. He has done a ton of different posts in the past with different data mines and leaking things for past patches, and he's been very accurate as far as I can tell. So I have no reason to not trust these leaks and data mining. So we are going to go through this and see what the new stuff is that has been put into the 4.1.1 files. So we're going to start off, we're just going to go section by section. There are quite a few of them, so I'll try and not be too long on them, but we're just going to go through these. So, first section.
I still get Millennium Falcon vibes in a weird way. I know some of you disagreed with me on this, but like I don't know why I get Millennium Falcon vibes with this.
Is going to be Fleet Week 2025. Like, so this is Invictus. You know, this will be in May. So Invictus is going to be,
I know a lot of people
say
that.
May 15th to the 27th.
That's what I see
at Area 18. There will be an Idris tour on the Area 18 rooftop, and possible ship displays are going to be the Starlancer TAC as a flyable ship,
Serenity,
the Starlancer build as a likely display ship, so they may show the exterior of it, but we won't be able to fly it yet. Apparently, the Anvil Paladin is going to be
the Anvil Paladin heavy gunship. Hold on a second. Pepe prepared something here. Let's get into that just a second.
Right on cue, at the end of IAE 2954, Anvil Aerospace has thrown down the gauntlet by not only releasing the highly anticipated medical terrapin, but also given us one more thing, the Anvil Paladin gunship. While this does feel like just an Anvil reskin of the Redeemer, the component selection is actually pretty interesting, with a myriad of trade-offs. Oh, and 4 size 5 guns doesn't hurt either. Hello folks, Space Tech here, and welcome to a deep dive and buyer's guide for the Anvil Paladin. I'll be covering everything we know about the ship, as well as how it stacks up against the competition in the Aegis Redeemer. Of course, this ship is still in concept, so CIG can change things as it moves along the ship pipeline. So with quad size 5 guns, generous living quarters, and a silhouette and style of a Valkyrie, does the Paladin do enough to earn a spot in your hangar? If I helped answer that question by the end, a like and subscribe is always appreciated. As always, I've left timestamps in the description below, so feel
man, Paladin is looking saucy, you know? Who is looking saucy? Ha! Ha!
Feel free to jump around to sections that interest you the most. The Paladin comes in at 53 meters long, 38.5 meters wide, and 14.5 meters tall while it's landed. For some context, that's the same length as a Corsair with the width and height of a Valkyrie. Overall, this gives you a fairly large profile, especially from the top and bottom. For comparison's sake, the Redeemer is 13 meters thinner, while having a similar length and height. We'll dive deeper into the implications of this later. First, a tour. On the bottom floor, we have our access to the ship through a staircase on the left side. This does seem to be the only entrance, meaning you'll have to run through the entire length of the ship to get to the pallet seat from the ground if you have to leave in a hurry.
Better not fuck with it.
I think that's completely reasonable for a ship of this size. Up the stairs, we have our FPS prep room. Here, we have 4 suit lockers on the far wall with a gun locker right beside it. While suit lockers don't provide a lot of value today, we now know that different suits of armor are going to have a variety of effects on your gameplay. For example, you're going to want to be in light to no armor when you're piloting the ship to maximize your maneuverability. The advantage of a suit locker is that you'll be able to quickly grab your heavy or EVA capable armor as you run out of the ship. That, combined with the gun rack, will make sure that you're ready for any FPS encounter extremely quickly. Going deeper into the ship, we find ourselves at the base of the stairs. We will likely have a few components in this center room, as well as access to a fire extinguisher for engineering. It does look like there is some space around this main area for a couple SCU of loose cargo as well, but it's worth noting here that the Paladin does not carry any cargo attached to a grid. This is something that we'll discuss again later. This brings us to the last room of the Paladin's lower floor. Here, we have a ladder that will take us to the cockpit, as well as 2 turret operator seats. I'm sure at some point you'll be able to control any of the turrets from any MFD, but
This is a fleet ship. You know, don't get it twisted. This is a fleet ship. I don't think you're too worried about cargo here. This is something you need for an org when you want to pound somebody down into dust. You know, when you need some heavy gunships around, this is what you're gonna want. And yeah, it's only got one entrance in, like Manstyle's saying. What are your guys' views on just having one entrance on ship design? I don't know, like there's a security thing. There's a pro security to it, as everything has to be siphoned through one way or the other, but also, you know, playability in terms of not being able to get out due to whatever reasons. Some people don't like it because of it. Yeah, it's just pure gunship. It's just pure ownage. Like this ship is just nothing but explosion. Yeah, like this is just a beast of a ship, and like this thing's gonna fucking pummel you into the ground, or at least that's the way it's designed to be, you know. Yeah, Jama says the anime Ghost in the Shell has a ship similar to this. Retro says he prefers more entrances and exits. Aether does not like it. I could see this as a pick a ship for a combo. Yeah, I mean, like this is definitely a fleet ship. And it should put on some serious pain. But we'll see. We'll see.
for now, I wouldn't be surprised to see these two seats be the ones that control the smaller remote turrets on the side of the ship. An interesting design decision for this section of the ship is the transparent flooring on both floors. This means from any of the 4 seats, you should be able to look straight up or straight down to see what's above or below the ship
hot.
at any point.
That's fucking tight.
This is going to increase your crew's overall situational awareness.
Yeah, I love
Heading
that.
up the ladder from before.
Dude, I love that. If they operate like that, if they've actually designed them to do that, that's fucking badass.
We're now in the actual pilot's and co-pilot's cockpit. I think this is where the default controls for the massive quad-size 5 turret will be to begin with. Of course, we will likely also end up with our most important small components like life support and avionics here. A welcome feature on a ship with this much glass is the addition of a blast shield to cover up the cockpit.
The field of view should
This
be
comes
ridiculous.
right on the heels of the Anvil Carrack getting its own blast shields implemented in the PTU today. We've heard in the past that glass in the Star Citizen universe is extremely strong and should have the same strength as any part of the hull. With that in mind, I'm not quite sure what the eventual benefit of blast shields will be. We've seen them on a few ships like the small ones on the Cutter, the Carrack, and the Fury MX as well. There's a lot of different knobs CIG can turn here to make blast shields worth it, maybe even just resistance to solar flares or something. But until we learn more, I wouldn't be paying too much attention to it. Moving back from the cockpit, we have a shared bathroom that I can only assume will come with the signature shower-toilet combination. We have our stairs to the bottom floor, and finally, we have a little dining area. We don't see any kitchen facilities, which is a little odd for a ship with this much room, especially considering the recently released Intrepid had a food processor. That being said, it's possible that it is in the ship, it just isn't pictured here. Moving to the back, right, and left, we have our habitation rooms. These rooms seem to be mirrors of each other with a series of amenities. Each room comes equipped with 2 bunk beds, a desk, what looks like a sofa of some sort, and personal lockers for each crewmate to store their personal items. I will say, the habitation section seems large for this ship. If we consider the fact that there is 0 SCU of cargo, then the 2 large rooms seems to be quite excessive. That being said, I had thought the same thing about the Starlancer Max's 4 double beds, but many people seem to love it and the RP potential that the rooms provided. It's possible that CIG is trying to fulfill the same kind of desire here with the Paladin. This leads us to the final room in the back, engineering. So what components do we get in the Paladin, and how do they compare to the Redeemer? Powering everything, we get 2 medium power plants in the Paladin. This is the same as the Redeemer. While this might mean that energy weapons on the Paladin get bigger capacitors than if it only had a single power plant, it's not always the case. The biggest advantage of multiple power plants is the redundancy that this provides in a fight. When a ship loses its only power plant, it will be dead in the water. It will be unable to fire energy weapons, and most importantly, it will lose thrusters altogether, preventing you from being able to run away. The Paladin's engineer, on the other hand, should be able to turn off enough systems to give them the chance to limp away and live to fight another day. Moving on, both ships have a size 2 quantum drive, but differ greatly in their fuel capacity. The Paladin will come with 1 size 2 fuel tank and 1 size 2 quantum fuel tank. Compare this to the 2 of each in the Redeemer. This gives the Redeemer twice the quantum range without refueling. Of course, in Stanton this may not seem like a big deal, given the fact that all ships with a size 2 quantum drive can easily make multiple jumps across the system without refueling, but as we approach the release of larger systems like Pyro, that extra fuel can be extremely helpful. This advantage will be even more important in lawless systems where there will be fewer fueling stations overall. The Paladin also comes with 2 size 2 coolers compared to 1 size 3 on the Redeemer. Other than that, the components are largely the same. 1 size 2 battery, life support, computer, and radar. We still have a lot to learn about how any of these components and systems are going to work at all, so I won't really speculate on their effectiveness here. This brings us to the components that matter most for a gunship: weapons and shields. The Paladin comes with a single size 3 shield, the very same that was replaced by 6 size 2 shields on the Redeemer in its recent rebalance. Comparing the shield HP pools, we can see that at the very top end, a size 3 shield can give you a shield HP pool of 60,000. Compare this to the Redeemer's maximum of around 32,000 shield HP, or just over half. In this respect, it's clear that the Paladin is a lot tougher, but I believe that it will also end up getting hit more often due to its much larger profile. The one upside to the Redeemer's size 2 shields is that they can actually be replaced by hand, unlike size 3 components. Maybe that's the reason that the Redeemer has 2 SCUs of cargo compared to the 0 on the Paladin. Another reference to the old Redeemer is in the Paladin's weaponry. The main weapon of the Paladin is a massive quad size 5 remote turret. This turret is also on rails, similar to the Scorpius. It means that the turret can be moved from the bottom of the ship to the top of the ship at will. This will largely be useful for ground assaults in atmosphere when you may need to lay down a lot of damage towards ground targets like tanks, turrets, or maybe even a massive sandworm. Compare this to the main weapons on the Redeemer, which consists of a pair of dual size 4s for a total of 2 size 4s on top and 2 size 4s on the bottom of the ship. While this should give you some more simultaneous coverage in a bubble around the Redeemer, the difference in DPS is really large, especially if it's against a single target. Considering the split weapons, the Redeemer pilot may not even be able to keep the target in the firing arc of both of its main turrets, a concern that isn't present on the single turret of the Paladin. When it comes to single target damage, there is no contest between the Paladin and the Redeemer. This brings us to the wing-mounted turrets. Each wing of the Paladin has a remote turret that has 2 size 4 weapons on it. While unclear at first, we now know that the pilot can use these weapons when the remote turret seats are not in use. This is massive. The ability for the pilot to take over the turrets make this ship far more friendly to running the Paladin with just 2 people instead of 4 to get the most out of it. While you would have better coverage with turret operators that could independently aim the turrets, ask yourself if you would rather have those same 2 people in another ship like a Hurricane or even another Paladin fighting beside you. It also means that owners of this ship aren't just helpless if they ever need to fly the ship solo. When compared with the pilot guns on the Redeemer, we go from the Paladin's 4 size 4 guns to just 2 size 4s, cutting the DPS in half. Now, it's worth noting that the Redeemer does come with 2 extra turrets that each have a pair of size 3 weapons, but those extra seats can be really hard to fill. As we can see, the weaponry of the Paladin simply outclasses what's available on the Redeemer. While there are more gunner seats in the Redeemer, I'm not sure when I would rather put 5 people in a Redeemer instead of splitting them across 2 Paladins instead, at least as far as combat is concerned. Now, it is likely that the Redeemer ends up...
All right. Hey, welcome, Scorch. Thank you. Nice to see new faces here. Pepe, did you fix the alerts, dude? What is going on, man? I thought the alerts were broken. Okay, cool. Looks like Pepe's working behind the scenes. All right, Pepe. Let's hear it for Pepe. All right, Pepe. Hey, dude. Okay. Pepe doing something right. What's up, Cheddar? How you doing, buddy?
More maneuverable than the Paladin, but the question will be whether or not it's enough to act as a balance for the extra damage and shielding of the Paladin. If not, the time to use the Redeemer will be for covering vast distances using its larger fuel tanks with a crew of at least 3. The Redeemer was also supposed to get modularity at some point, but it will probably be a very long time before we hear anything about it. So should you buy the Anvil Paladin?
Yes. If you like explosions and you like to chew shit up, this is very effective. You can play it solo play. It's a cool looking ship, and it's too late to buy it now, but hopefully they'll put it back on sale. Let's get back to these leaks.
Flyable. And a new straight-to-flyable that has been revealed is the Mirai Guardian MX, a heavy ordnance missile.
Yeah, and by the way, that ship is primarily if you are an ass kicker in an organization and you like to blow shit up. Yeah, like first off, let's get everything straight. Should everyone get it? No. Should you get it if you are an org leader? Yes. Should you get it if you like to blow shit up? Yes. Should you get it if you want to be the badass in the organization blowing shit up? Yes. So those are your yes scenarios. If you like to blow shit up in a solo style with many fucking turrets and guns and DPS, yes, there's your 4th variable.
variant. So that's going to be similar to the Fury MX, where it doesn't have any guns on it. It just has a crap ton of missiles for that little tiny thing. So I imagine it'll be a similar orientation. You'll have a crap ton of missiles strapped to the outside.
You're very essential, Ginger. You're very essential
of the Guardian
to the economy, bro.
And
there's nothing
you'll
simple
have
about
a crazy
that,
amount of missile firepower. So we'll have to see what that ends up being. Maybe it can carry, size 5s or size 4s, or I'm sure it'll, carry at least 1, 2, 3. Who knows?
Yes.
We'll have to see. Very interested to see on that. I'm really surprised, to be honest,
yes.
about the Paladin. If this turns out to be true and the Paladin is already going to be flyable at Invictus, that'll be a very quick turnaround from its concept sale at IAE in November/December. Reading that right, I think that would mean that there'd be 12 total torpedoes, because there's 4 listed here. We have the Bearing EX T10 Executor size 10 torpedo, the Talon Vanquisher X size 10 torpedo, the Bearing EX T10, well, I guess that's the same thing again, so I don't know, maybe it's a little... Called Gilly's Pilot School, this appears to be a reintroduction of a flight/combat tutorial. As of this moment, there are 9 different variations of missions. These missions are available in the PU and feature the previous tutorial voice actor leading the player to various combat...
Okay, so more tutorial kind of mission style, introductory mission style, okay, called Gilly's Pilot School, okay. What else here? New flight.
And those
okay,
out.
We got that. What's next?
Next, it sounds like we are going to be getting some new Wicklow rewards.
Okay, more Wicklow rewards. Okay. What are we doing? Okay, Aegis, we're adding the Firebird, War Special, the Peregrine, Wicklow Speedy Special.
So we have listed here, there is going to be a new Aegis Saber Firebird War Special, a Aegis Saber Peregrine Wicklow Speedy Special, a Crusader Intrepid Wicklow Work Special, a Misk Starlancer Max Wicklow Work Special, an RSI Zeus Mark II CL, and ES Work Special as well from Wicklow. So several more ships that are presumably going to go into that ship pool of possible ships that you can get from trading with Wicklow. At least right now you have to use Karenite. Maybe that material will change in the future, but
I mean, Wicklow's got it going on, man. He's the nicest Banu in the whole world.
That is some interesting to see some, more ships added. They'll probably get some, and really nice skin with them, some nice components and things like that.
Okay.
Previously, we mentioned a Rayari-driven mission to collect worm eggs to solve the ongoing regeneration crisis. It appears they are intending to have various Stanton corporations compete to solve the problem, which lore has implied will provide benefits to the leading corporations in some way. There's a player and system-wide count of the contributions.
This is great. There's a player and system-wide count of the contributions made to the progress scientific research, as well as a display for a leading corporation. That's cool. So you'll align with one of Stanton's corporations, and you'll basically work for them, just very much like community goals in Elite Dangerous. This is a total community goals kind of thing going on here.
Made to progress scientific research. Events. This main future, we'll have to see on that.
Gracious.
Very interested to see what that turns out to be.
Goodness gracious.
However, some additional details.
Pyro research facilities, nothing too much added info-wise. However, some additional details confirm the involvement of radiation elements as well as general loop irradiating eggs.
Details confirm the involvement of radiation elements. So that would be
Physical
one for the good guys and one for the criminals, I believe.
Items that seem to be intended to be utilized as trading currency for items. Currently, these physical currencies have 2 variants, one for the Mercenaries Guild and one for the Council. So they're like tokens, right? Mercenary script, and there's your Council script. Okay. The next one is the Hunt the Polaris Fleet Week event. This is going to be cool, I think. They're going to park a Polaris on top of one of the buildings in Arc. On our corp,
attempting to escape through with said Polaris after interrogating a member captured from the initial encounter. That sounds...
Wait, let's read this. Because I was reading something where they were going to park one on top for Fleet Week as well. Frontier fighters have stolen a fully armed Polaris during Fleet Week festivities. So the CDF have called on the player to help chase it down. The mission is the player fight a group of Frontier fighters, then set up an ambush at a transient jump point into Pyro. that the FF are attempting to escape through with said Polaris after interrogating a member captured from the initial encounter. Okay. Ambush missions. Okay, so we got more missions. What else here? Security patrol missions. So that's good. That's good. New mission changes.
Chicken ships might attempt to bail out, which if allowed may cause reinforcements to spawn. During patrols, various things can be spotted along the way, such as derelict/abandoned ships to pick apart, as well as allied/enemy satellites the players are ordered to ignore.
Okay. Your new location summary. Stanton mining bases. Derelict mining compound. Pyro remote mining bases, so we're adding quite a few there.
Be like a space version of a distribution center, perhaps?
Additional
Municipal
notes. Area 18 sewers content. Okay, like the dungeons we were listening to are like the dungeon crawls that are going to be introduced from CitizenCon. Last October, they mentioned this. This confirms previously leaked information that we leaked here on the channel. A bunch of locations, various desk workers are getting a large amount of general dialogue, which the player can interact with to get location information and more. Dozens of new lines, blah, blah, blah. Marl for tour entries. Some new localization for escape pods. Okay. Are they starting to finally focus on escape pods? Gray Cat, blah, blah, blah. Anvil Paladin, we're all very excited about. All right, there you go. There's your leaks. I just cut down the video a little bit for you guys. This is like a 19-minute video. I just wanted to kind of get through this to see exactly what was going to be happening here. Let's get to the next video.